Hello. Hi, I'm gonna talk about some Jaguar games. Like six. It's all the Jaguar games that were like sort of proper Jaguar games, but they aren't official ones because they weren't actually like licensed by Atari. So it's all the stuff that came out sort of after Jaguar had left the gaming scene, and by the publishers who weren't licensed, like Telegames. All your shit like Soccer Kid and Skyhammer. So let's just talk some Jaguar games because I have nothing better to do. So yeah, Soccer Kid. Let's talk Soccer Kid on Jaguar. Now, famously not a Jaguar exclusive. I feel like most people know Soccer Kid on 3DO, but it was on quite a few things. It had an Amiga, at least an Amiga CD32 version as well, I think. And I'd imagine I think it also came out on PlayStation, right? I imagine 3DO or PlayStation would be the best versions just because of the CD music they get. But the music on the Jaguar version is hella good, honestly, and Soccer Kid's actually a really fun game. If we're counting it among the official releases, I'd say it's maybe like a top 10 Jaguar game. It's genuinely really fun. Now weirdly the screen size is really badly positioned. I don't know if that's just on my TV because obviously I've got that Euro debuff, you know, the 50 Hz or European TVs and shit, you know, that work differently. But yeah, it only comes out like half the screen is showing. Some of the sprites don't get positioned properly. Some of the backgrounds are obviously the parallaxing and all the scrolling and shit isn't working properly. You can see all the edges of it. And the final boss, straight up, I just fucking glitched out into the floor because I'd walked over it. I'd walked over a bit of the floor that was off screen slightly and fell into it and just got stuck. Which is really weird. I've never seen like a glitch like that happening. But besides from a few technical problems with the screen, but I guess you can't really blame the game. Soccer Kid is really fun. It's a very simple platformer. You're just moving left and right, jumping and kicking your ball. It's very fun. You use your ball you kick your ball to like hit enemies, to like open, I think you open a few doors with it maybe. It's mostly for clearing out the enemies. It's very straightforward. The levels are quite flat and you're mostly just running from one end to the other. There'll be a few sky platforms and maybe like a few alternate shortcuts for power-ups and points, but to get to the end of the level, you pretty much just run in a straight line, jump over the enemies, or kick them with the ball if you've got it on hand. That's kind of why you want to keep it on hand. It makes it way easier to kill the enemies and jump over them. But yeah, you just jump over the enemies or jump over the spikes and get to the end. It's very fast, and like I say, you kind of want the ball on you. So half the challenge is just trying to like get the ball over the pits and keep it on you for making it easier to get past the enemies. And the physics on it are really cool. You can sort of like you can dribble it, you can kick it up, down, forward. It's got a lot of directions it can go in. You can bounce on it as well to get a little extra height for a little second. Tons of cool stuff you can do with the ball, and it's really got pretty good physics in all fairness. It's really fun to kick it around to hit the enemies. But without it, the game's way harder, because again, jumping over the enemies is kind of awkward, so you want to sort of keep the ball on you, bring it through the level, over all the obstacles, just to get past the enemies. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for gameplay. There's like 3 levels per world, each world is like a different country, there's a boss at the end. It's not bad. It reminds me a lot of like something like Adventure Island. It feels weirdly very like PC Engine, like JJ and Jeff kind of shit. And that is very fast-paced, straightforward, almost just like a sort of platformer meets Infinite Runner kind of thing, but with obviously, you know, not being an infinite runner and still being a platformer. It's good, honestly. Very hard and very fast-paced, but it's honestly a really enjoyable game, I think. I'm just going back into the Jag scripts, actually. What can I say about Soccer Kid that's on the Jag script? Oh yeah, and another thing with Soccer Kid is the sponsorship from Golden Grahams, which I'm pretty sure is a breakfast cereal as far as I know. Yeah, the kid's just got that on his shirt the whole game, and it's pretty funny of all things to sponsor a game, a breakfast cereal, you know. Oh yeah, and if your ball gets like destroyed during the level, I'm pretty sure there's no way to get it back from what I can see. Say you accidentally kicked it onto the spikes, then yeah, sorry Jimbo, but you're kinda fucked. You do have 3 hits per life though, so you can make it, but you can play the game without the ball, obviously, but it's just way harder, because opponents, spikes, there's pretty much a danger on every bit of the screen. But yeah, you're pretty much just making like a beeline to the end of the level. The platforming is very light, yeah. And the levels are just like a straight line with maybe a platform or two going overhead, but that's about it really. But yeah, like the ball, it goes up the ramps, it bounces around a lot, it's really bouncy. It's honestly the funnest thing about the game is just kicking it around and seeing where it goes. Yeah, and the music is a lot of steel drums and very snappy riffs, and it really fits like the high contrast, bright colour, cartoony look of the game. Oh yeah, and in this universe, the Houses of Parliament take up 80% of London. Yeah. And just like in real life Britain, there's dudes who walk around throwing spanners at children, so yeah, yeah, very realistic game. But they do have nice decor, yeah, like you get loads of cars and street lamps. Yeah, there's a lot of good beach levels in this game as well. I think Italy and the one of the Americans, yeah, it's just Italy. Italy has some really cool beach stages. You gotta love a good beach level, right? Oh yeah, and in the Russia level, you start in like a snowy neighborhood, quite standard, and then you go onto like a fucking military vessel, like a military submarine. You're just running around kicking your ball around on this fucking Russian military ship. It's so good. So stupid. Yeah, Japan, disappointingly, the first level at least, I couldn't pass and see what's after that. But it's like an indoor, like an office, and it's like there's no room to kick your ball, hardly any room to platform, enemies, awful, annoying places. Really, that's really the worst level. And the last level kind of feels like it goes back to the first level. America is very similar to the first level. And at the end of the game, oh yeah, you got the big fucking robot, the big fucking football robot, yeah. But yeah, honestly, it's a pretty good game. And it might be potentially my favourite football related thing in the world. But I don't know. And yeah, Skyhammer is really impressive looking. It's probably from a visual perspective, it might be the most impressive game on Jaguar actually. Certainly near. It's either this or like Iron Soldier 2. Oh yeah, it's made by the same people that made Alien vs Predator as well, which is really cool. Yeah, the whole aesthetic of this game is like towering skyscrapers and dark green industrial nighttime cityscapes. And they're actually really big, the cities. There's only 3 levels, but they feel huge and you'll never really have a sense of place in them. Yeah, but you just sort of have a mission or two to destroy a certain number of things, go somewhere, get something, bring it back. Your usual like vehicular combat type missions. And you go back and forth to earn money and upgrade your parts. You sort of slowly build up your fuel supplies, your strength of your weapons, your shields, pretty much everything. Yeah, save your game in these little maintenance pods, I guess, as well. But yeah, they really like this. They're very descriptive. Everything, all the random upgrades, there's a lot of text and descriptive stuff here. But yeah, the combat's pretty slow, and you can kind of get like sucked into watching all the little moving parts in these cities, like the turrets and the enemy ships. But there's really not that much going on in this game. Yeah, it's like the sense of a living city is almost there, but still managing to remain in like a liminal ghost town kind of thing. But yeah, lots of like big overbearing advertisements, Blade Runner-esque huge buildings, but yeah, I just don't find Skyhammer very fun, honestly. It's a cool game, and the cities, exploring them is cool. The sense of like the movement's really good. You glide around and you soar, and you sort of have full rotation, full control. You can barrel roll. The movement is really great. And the city looks really cool as you go through it, but it's not. I don't find this game very fun, honestly. It's very slow. Let's talk about the other ones, though. Oh yeah, there's Battlesphere. Battlesphere is like a sort of aerial combat, like a 3D space combat dogfight kind of game. I'm usually not a big fan of games like this as well, but Battlesphere is very impressive, don't get me wrong. Like, all the models look really good in Battlesphere. The music's pretty good, pretty cinematic, but nothing I really remembered, honestly. I'm not a big fan of like electric orchestral music, or orchestral music in general does nothing for me, honestly. But yeah, Battlesphere is good. It's the navigation is really good. You have like 2 sort of compasses that show you around you, and also like, well, obviously around you. They show like the direction of an enemy ship and also like the altitude. They're in like the top, they're in like the corners. It's a bit awkward at first, but once you get used to it, it's really easy to navigate and it feels very cool and very technical to be able to do it. But yeah, not much going on in Battlesphere. It's not my kind of game. Now, Arena Football 95 though. This is clearly another unfinished game. I think it's still it's maybe like half finished. I don't know. It crashes a lot. Not really crashes, is like glitches out, but just like, or like shuts down. But crashes as in like it will take no input and will just, everything will seize up. But yeah, it's a football game with some very scuffy music. Lots of sort of screechy guitar riffs done synthetically. It's not bad music, but it's just very awkward sounding, you know. Yeah, it's a funny game, you know. You don't really play it. You kind of just like automate the AI. You can control a single character and you can't switch between any other. You don't like switch from member to member like you do in most sports games where the ball gets passed, you know, and you play as the character who's got the ball. No, you just play as one character throughout the whole thing. You just play as one guy running around on the pitch, which is really funny. But most of the time you're just watching the AI, depending on what you set it on. It's actually way easier to play it with the AI. It's a very slow game and it takes ages. The shortest matches you can have are like 10 minutes. So yeah, it's not very fun. A lot of teams, I don't know if they're real football teams, but their descriptions are pretty funny. The menus are pretty funny looking as well. I really like them. Lots of like random real life photography with like on the menus. Gotta love that look, you know. But it's clearly an unfinished game. It's quite unstable, but it's still very entertaining in its way. Brett Hull Hockey similarly is quite unfinished, but not in like it's unstable and doesn't and like crashes. It never crashed. It's just like got no content. It's just like a tournament mode. A huge bunch of teams, famous hockey guys. I mean, I've only ever heard of like Wayne Gretzky, but I mean everyone's heard of him, right? I mean, it's fairly good. It's a very fast-paced hockey game. Much more a traditional sports game. You know, it's not like arena football where you just control one guy. It's pretty much just a hockey game that's not really got much. I'm struggling at things to say about it, actually. You know, the music's not bad. Your usual sort of sports game music. The menus look quite clean and crisp, and there's some cool animations, don't get me wrong. Watching all the movement of the people go around and all the hockey being played is entertaining, but again, it's not a game I find super enjoyable. Now, Phase Zero is yet another unfinished Jaguar game that got released properly, but this one's actually very interesting. You sort of play on you're on a motorbike that shoots like a space motorbike, and it's fast as fuck. Like you can get some serious airtime. You go up any ramp, you're going flying in the fucking air. You can really like cut over huge bits of the level doing this. It's really fun. So you get a mission, I assume, to like destroy a thing and move on. There's 9 of them. You've got to use a cheat to get the last 4 because they weren't programmed in, but they are on the cartridge. It's that kind of game. Yeah, the movement's fun, and the levels can be a bit confusing to navigate. The mission briefs are not the most descriptive, but it's a very fast-paced game, and it's fun just on that. Very interesting aesthetic. It definitely would have been a good game if it was properly finished off. And the speed, again, it's awesome. The visuals are fucking cool. I don't know how they did it, but the 3D looks so smooth. Like, it doesn't look polygonal. I don't know how the hell they did it. But yeah, like really, the hills are all like made of little bumps and circles, and it's all really fucking smooth looking. One of like the smoothest looking games on Jaguar, even though there's not really much going on in the graphics. You just get some random like cutout looking, crummy looking trees and shit on the landscape, but it's a fascinating game, and the speed is really fun. It's fun to play just for how fast you move, really. And then there's Protector. Oh, Protector by Bethesda. Yeah, you know, Bethesda. What's your favourite Bethesda game? Oh, you know, like Fallout New Vegas, right? That's Bethesda. Protector on Atari Jaguar. It's basically Defender. Yes, it's shitty Defender, I'll be honest with you. Well, not shitty, just it's Defender, but way more basic. The fact that it's by Bethesda is just the most noteworthy thing. There's really nothing else noteworthy, you know. But I mean, a lot of people say this is one of the best games on Jaguar, and I don't fucking... You're fucking insane. No, no way. It's just Protector, dude. It's not that interesting. Like I say, it's pretty much just the same thing as Defender, but without the style of, like, say, Defender 2000, without the music. It has music, but I don't fucking remember anything about it. The graphics are just like clean space backgrounds. They're nice, but they don't really have much personality. And yeah, the game itself is just like, it's the same thing as Defender, but it's what is the difference? It's like, I can't remember. If you kill all the people, the world doesn't explode. I think. I'm not sure, but the difference is like one mechanic's difference. It's really not a very fun game. It's basic and it functions, it works well, it runs smooth, sure, but that doesn't make something a good game because I don't think it's enjoyable. I don't think there's anything fun about it. You've got upgrades between levels, and you get money, and you can spend on the upgrades to get, you know, faster shots or whatever. I don't fucking care. It's Protector. It's boring. Hyperforce is way better. It's like a 2D run and gun, very PC feeling. You play as like a robot dude. You go around big imposing industrial places to shoot other robot dudes and I guess kill a big evil company or something. It's slow paced, but it's not like bad slow. It's quite good slow. You go around the levels, you collect money to buy gun upgrades, to buy fuel for your gun so that you can keep using it. Very important you remember to do that, or it'll be even slower a game. Because you've got to blast on, there's like big walls you've got to shoot down, and they take fucking ages unless you have like a fully powered up gun. And just generally, if you have a fully powered up gun, you can kind of just like walk forward and hold down shoot and clear out everything that's in your way quite easily. So it's quite satisfying in the sense that you feel pretty powerful. But the levels are fucking huge, man. It's so tedious and they're very repetitive, no landmarks or anything. So it's really hard to have a sense of place in this game. The visuals look cool, it's got an atmosphere certainly. The backgrounds are awesome, sick, like big, cavernous, futuristic city caves, really cool. And the music's very bassy and very kind of like industrial sounding. Lots of wompy bass lines and sort of dark long synths. It's a cool soundtrack, not the most memorable, but really fits this game well. Yeah, it's nothing amazing, but it's a solid game, you know. Shooting things feels good. The platforming is very, very basic, but it's fun enough. You're quite a big sprite, so navigating isn't the easiest around tight spaces. And some of the guns are fun. You get spread guns, big blasting. They're very fun to use, and you do feel very powerful blasting down the big walls and shit. But again, if you didn't keep your gun charged up, they take ages to clear those walls. It's a bit slow, honestly. My main problem is just the levels are too big and labyrinthine though, but it's, you know, a slow, very PC run and gun game, but it's not bad. And lastly, Total Carnage, which is the sequel to Smash TV, right? I played that with a friend. We stayed up till like all night from like 5 in the morning till sun up playing Smash TV on like a 360, I think. Yeah, it was a fucking good night. Smash TV, yeah, you run, it's like a twin stick shooter. You run, you shoot. Huge fucking fuck off, huge amounts of enemies. Yeah, that's it. Total Carnage takes that and takes out the sort of fun, quirky game show element and just makes it like your Jimmy McAction Man. You gotta go shoot your way into a big military base and kill Mr. Bad Military Man. I don't fucking know, but who cares, man. It's very arcadey and very hard in that kind of quarter grabbing way. Quarters? We don't use quarters. I'm not an American. Yeah, so you move and you shoot. You get power-ups for your gun and points. There's warp points and there's warp points for if you want to go back to certain levels. Because to get the true ending, you got to collect like 100 keys or some shit. But like, I don't care about seeing like 16-bit titties, so I don't need that bonus ending where you enter the pleasure dome. On an honor, I know, but I'm not like 13, dude. I can do without the pixelated titties, thanks. Yeah, it's honestly not that fun a game, I find, honestly. It's cool, I like it what it's doing, but... So here's the thing, you're playing it on a controller that's only got one D-pad. This is a twin-stick shooter, so like, good fucking luck. So you either, you move around up and down, left and right and shoot, or you hold down one button to like lock in that direction and then keep shooting, and you've kind of got to do both and it's kind of awkward. The shooting feels good, the guns are cool, the action is intense, the bosses are big, the attack patterns they have is cool, you feel powerful, but there's no music, so this game is really empty. You're sitting there blasting away at like fucking endless waves of opponents, and there's just like nothing. There's no real like the sound effects are alright, but there's no sense of feedback or catharsis because it feels so empty without music. A game like this needs music, I think. Yeah, so you just run around, up, down, left, right, shoot all the dudes on screen, move on to the next screen, don't step on the landmines, collect all the shit that you can and go for a high score. The boss fights at the end, the final boss was quite fun, I thought. I remember it being quite a big, like, it kind of felt more like a shmup when you got to the boss fight, because having to focus on one big enemy is okay because you can strafe, but it's all the dealing with all the little dudes coming from all angles. It's just so much back and forth fucking around that it's part challenging, but it's also just like challenging in like the tricky, tedious way, which I'm not a big fan of. This game just needs music. That's kind of my main hold up. A game of this much action feels extremely empty, contrastingly so when there's no music. But yeah, you get chased by tanks, you get planes bombing you, I think, in one scene. There's a lot going on in this game, and it is very interesting, and it'd be very fun with 2 players, I think. A lot more fun with 2 players, but yeah, needs music, play a different version. This version, with only one D-pad, it's very awkward, even if it is a pretty good cathartic game at its heart. Is that it? Oh, that's it. Oh, that's all of them. Okay, so how many games is that? Arena Football was never finished, I guess. Brett Hull Hockey, similarly. Phase 0. So that's Protector, Hyperforce, Total Carnage, Battlesphere. Yeah, so that is 6 games, including the ones that are finished. So I guess you could say Jaguar has 56 games, if you're counting the finished ones that were properly properly published, not officially published. There's only 50 of those, I think. I don't fucking know. Say whatever number you like. Anyway, I'm very tired. I don't know why I made this. I guess I'm just going insane from having played every Jaguar game. So, please take this with a grain of salt. Because, like I say, it's about 3 a.m. and I'm tired of shit. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Jaguar games are cool. These ones are too. Even if I have problems with them, they're still quite good. I don't know. Good night. Thanks for watching.